Today on Co-Mission Africa, the team arrives in Zambia where they meet up with Bill Smithers and Dr. Rodney Howard-Browne and preach the gospel in remote tribal villages. All this and more today on Co-Mission Africa. The fresh Botswana morning brings with it a new direction for the team. After their debriefing, they set towards Zambia. First, however, they need to cross into Namibia and will spend one night at Katima Mulilo.
We're just here in Namibia, and we're going to be in Zambia for the next 6 days, all on our own, no shops, no nothing. So we're just trying to repack all the vehicles so we have just enough space, because Dr. Rodney and Adonica is joining us tomorrow, so we need to shove everything in as close as possible so we have enough space.
Crossed the border early this morning. At the moment we are in Namibia for one night, crossing over to Zambia tomorrow morning to meet up with the rest of the Co-Mission team. Got a beautiful site here with the Zambezi in the background. Just repacking all the vehicles, getting ready for the joining of the team tomorrow. A big journey tomorrow, some hard camping tomorrow, and just being ready and having a good night tonight with some of the team.
Our mission is to take the gospel to those people, to those places where the gospel hasn't reached yet. And it's a privilege to me to be part of the team for writing the history of what is happening in this generation.
After a good night's rest, the team finally crosses the border into Zambia. They team up with Dr. Rodney Howard-Browne and Phil Smithers for the next leg of the expedition. The next few days will see the team traveling on some of the worst roads in Africa. They haven't traveled far when they come across a vehicle which has succumbed to the uneven roads. Using the opportunity to minister to the passengers and nearby locals, the team hands out Bibles and continues on their lunch stop to Nganye Falls.
We are preparing a bush lunch. This is a quick 30 minutes supposed to be stopped. We're halfway point now before we get to apparently a ferry further on where we need to cross over before we get to our base camp tonight. So it's a long day of travel, but this is a quick hot dog lunch.
Okay, so we just got to the Sioma Falls, which is about 100 kilometers up the river. And the Zambezi is actually the second largest waterfall on the Zambezi River since they dammed the Kabora Bassa Dam. And it's actually quite an amazing fall. It's in the wildlife sanctuary. We stopped at this little campsite here. It's like an eco-tourist site done by local development. And I'm expecting to be out of here in half an hour. And then we got quite a tricky bridge crossing and some very, very sandy road until we hit the ferry, and that's going to be crossing the Zambezi up into Sananga, and then we cross the floodplains, which is also very tricky. So from here on it gets more difficult.
Before they cross into Sananga, the team must acquire permission from the chief to travel freely in his land. Having sent a messenger to inform the chief of their intentions, the team is given permission to approach his household. After announcing their approach in the customary manner, they enter the chief's house. Being a fellow believer, the chief gives the team his blessing for free passage throughout his chiefdom.
Just finished with the chief, and just a great meeting. He's a wonderful man, a Christian. He's the senior chief of this entire region, and loves the Lord and given us permission to travel through every one of the villages with authority from the chief.
With local customs now adhered to and having shared some of their own, the team is ready to continue their travels. The remainder of the day's journey involves navigating an interesting route to Sananga. En route, they spot a large number of dwellings with satellites on them, driving home the importance of the work that they do and the significant role that Christian television plays in ministering to the lost. They soon come across a dilapidated steel bridge, a remnant from the First World War, constructed by the Italians. Only one vehicle can cross the bridge at a time, and some of the team opt to drive through the body of water below instead. Pushing on, the team makes it to the ferry crossing before it closes.
Just got here and we're hoping to make that ferry. It closes at 1800 hours. Tonight, I think we're going to be the last load, Rodney, to get across.
It looks like it. Well, yeah.
It's just our vehicles left. Half of the party's gone across, and we're going to make the next load and get to base camp tonight. I'm not sure on the distance still to go.
I don't think it's far.
It's not too far, but let's hope we make before sundown to get set up camp for tonight. Well, nothing like a sunset on the Zambezi. I mean, here we are crossing it. We've just made the ferry with a matter of minutes to spare to get us to our destination tonight, Rodney.
I tell you, it seems like we make a habit out of it. If you remember the last time in Mozambique.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But what a beautiful evening. What an amazing river this is. We were just saying over the radio, this is one of the few rivers in the world that are so spectacular.
You know, I just spent several days on the river. I mean, just you cruising along elephant, the hippo, crocodile. I mean, it's just amazing. And then look at the sunset over the Zambezi Valley. This, to me, is one of the great rivers of Africa.
And here we are without a bridge, doing it the good old-fashioned way. And just enjoying the Zambezi at its best.
With the crossing completed under the blood-red Zambian sun, the team continues on their way and finally arrives at the campgrounds in Sananga.
Well, here we are, arriving at our destination tonight. It's been another long down the road. Although we've only done about 300 or about 240 kilometers, it's been treacherous roads, plus a river crossing, plus an old bridge and a water crossing, and we're officially here. So we're very excited about that, and yeah, we're going to settle in here for the night in Zambia.
Early the following morning, the team makes their way to the boat dock for the start of the day's village outreach.
Okay, we're here on the Barotse floodplains of the upper Zambezi River, Zambia, Central Africa, on the western province of Zambia. And we're going to be going to villages of the Lozi Kingdom upstream of us, and visiting some of the work up there and the mission work that's been going on in this area. And I really hope that to see the value that people are, because these people have nothing. They have no real economy that drives them. They're fishing people. But in the kingdom of heaven, it's not monetary value that values people, but the fact that God put his value and price upon every man and woman. So really today we're going to be visiting these precious people and some of the work that's going on in the churches. One particular village that had a move of God on the village where they changed the name, and that's very powerful in traditional anthropology, where they don't usually move that quickly unless there's a move of God and God touches people in these environments. So it's a very powerful area, full of wildlife, some dangers, crocodiles, hippos, but beautiful people, and it's just wonderful to be in this place. Angola is where I'm pointing down the floodplains, about 80 kilometers the Angolan border, and this was a very hot spot during the war that Angola was having in the 80s. but it's just a wonderful place.
And the lovely part about this mission is that the people we go to, they'll remember this day forever, even though it's a one trip up the river. But our missionaries have been there, but the fact that we're coming back, we're seeing them, they'll tell stories years from now of when the Word of God came to them this day. So it's really exciting.
That's really awesome. And of course, our only mode of transport to get to this tribe is by boat. So it's not a huge luxury liner, but it is our boat and our mode of transport that is safely going to get us there by faith in Jesus' name. But I know also what is so awesome about where we're going is I believe, just as Sharon said, this is a moment in history that we're making. And I'm so glad that you can be a part of that too. Understanding that as we go with the Spirit of God, we go with the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we go to change lives and touch Africa.
The team are finally off on their journey, a 40-minute boat ride on the Zambezi River which will take them to a remote Lozi village. The team draws closer to the village, but before they alight there, they first visit a campsite which the villagers made especially for traveling missionaries.
Okay, this is a campsite for our teams, or the short-term teams when they arrive. Usually, actually when they came here, there wasn't much here previously, but it's kind of developed. But this is where they're building some ablutions for our short-term teams coming in. When they base camp here as an outpost for these villages. So we go to all these villages and our boats will park here and then travel to all of these small little villages. They're not massive, you know, but they just migrate. And the people are precious here, every single one of them. You know? And there's just 5 or 6 when you arrive, 10, 15 little family, minister the gospel and let them know about the love of God and His favor on their lives. So it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, it's extremely rural, but I don't think that you're going to get people from the city up here. I think it's a very rare occasion to have people from the city even come up into this place. It's very remote, but they are fishermen, as you can see, so this is how they make their living.
They get the fish out of the river, and then this is the way they call it servicing. So where they dry it so it can last 2 or 3 weeks like this, and then they sell it in the city. So these guys travel over 1,000 k's to come down here, buy the fish, and then go resell it in Lusaka.
The Lozi people lead nomadic lifestyles. During the flood seasons, they move on to drier ground and return only once the waters dissipate again, constantly having to repair and rebuild their dwellings.
Called Lakute, and this is a very special village because at first it had the name Lakute, which is when the white people came with the gospel and they brought the blessing. And then things changed in the village and it was as though a curse was on it, so they changed the name of the village to mean curse instead of respect, which is what Lakute means. But a little while ago, we had the Overland Missions come here and bring the gospel again. And with that, they brought the blessing. So they renamed this village. Instead of the village of the curse, it is now back to the village called Lakute, which means respect, back again. So it's very exciting to come back and see the fruit of what has been brought here. I think it was a couple of weeks ago they came and I just ministered to these people. So we're going straight back here. Of course, you can only come here by boat, and it's going to be great to see what these people are like and what the gospel has been doing for them.
Well, we finally arrived in Lakute, and we're right in the floodplains. As you can see, the house behind me, where you see the line, that's where the water level reaches. So these people have to migrate during the flood season to go to the upper land. If you can see the houses all around, they have this kind of line like halfway. So it gets pretty bad, but thank God for the highlands. So every year people have to move back here, and then when the rains come, go back to the highlands.
One tree here in the village, so there's only one spot of shade, and when they saw us coming, they brought the benches and the chairs and put us in the shade. So they're actually really honoring us just for being here, and it's very, very precious to be welcomed like that. So this is an experience of a lifetime, and we feel quite honored ourselves to be here.
It is humbling to witness their hospitality, despite their impoverished circumstances. The villagers entertain the team with a xylophone display. The villagers take up a chorus of hymns, and Pastor Jenny shares her testimony with them.
But one thing I know is the same Jesus that lives inside of me is the same Jesus that created the world. He's the same Jesus that works miracles in everybody's lives. He loves everybody. And I want to tell you one miracle he did in my life. When my husband and I, we got married when we were young, and we loved the Lord, and we went all over South Africa teaching people about Jesus, about how good he is. But we could not have children. My womb would not give children. And one day, I did fall pregnant. And I was so excited because the word of God says that if I know Jesus, he will bless my life and I will have children, because children are a blessing from God. So I was pregnant, and I was 30 weeks pregnant, and I got labor pains. So they rushed me to the hospital, and I gave birth to a little boy. But the boy was very sick, and he only lived 11 hours, and he died. And my heart was broken, and my husband's heart was broken, and I could not understand. If I am blessed of God, if Jesus is in me, why can I not have children? And the doctors said to us that it is impossible. We will not be able to have children. But I knew in my heart that the word of God is true. And it doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what things look like. If God has promised something in his word, it will come to pass if you choose to believe him. So I went before the Lord. I said, Father, your son died for me. You made a promise in your word that if I am blessed of God, my womb is blessed. And you promised I will have children. But the doctors say no. And the child I did have, it died. So my circumstances, the things around me, all say it is impossible. But your word says it is possible. So I choose to believe your word more than the doctors, more than what people say, more than what I see with my eyes. And you know what happened? God blessed me. He touched my life. And I have 3 healthy children. 3 healthy children. Because God, his word is true. true.
akulinzira muli mukilaniti
You can trust him.
bakona kumusepa
He is for you.
utezi mina.
After ministering to the villagers and seeing several of them, including the headmen, commit their lives to Christ, the team spends time with the people, learning more about their lifestyle and culture.
I've never actually been in such a traditional village like this before, and it's very touching to see how the kids respond to the attention we give them, and the amount of respect the people have here for outsiders is actually quite breathtaking. Very humbling to see.
These villages amongst the Lawsy here are actually perfect little sanctuaries for the people in these floodplains. It's quite funny, you know, there's like, you see them without anything. We were on the way up here, seeing one of them on a dugout canoe with carrying fish. And as he was waving at us, his cell phone rang. He reached in his pocket and pulled his cell phone out and answered it. So there's a real clash of two worlds here. At the same time, there's this immense amount of lack of natural resources that modern people don't have. But the one thing that is so important for these people to know is the value that God places on them in Christ Jesus. I mean, theoretically and anthropologically, they lack nothing compared to any human on earth. They love each other just like the rest of the world loves each other. But in environments like this, the negative spin, the understanding that they have of themselves is compounded. So they look really down upon themselves and see themselves poor and failing in this life because they measure themselves with everybody else. And it's so important that as we preach the gospel, it brings back the value that they have, and emphasizes the same emphasis that God put on them in Christ Jesus. Because in heaven, the currency of heaven is not money; it's people. And people are the value that God has. He doesn't have anything else but people. And yet we put a currency value on people with our currencies and make them feel less valuable. But yet in the preaching of the gospel, it cancels that. And it shows how valuable people are.
The team's time at the village draws to a close, and after praying for some of the villagers, they make their way back to the boat.
Loved about that village, one of the things I really saw and appreciate is the way that people treasure relationships, and we can learn from that in the West, because we used to be like that in a lot of cases, and we went to a contractual form of relationship where you're only my friend as long as you hold the contract and stick to your side of the deal. Here it's different. Everything's done by relationship, nothing's done by contracts. And that's why they can just be late, or they can be early, or they can do whatever they like, because the relationship's not affected by your behaviors. And I just remember one time we were here, we dropped a team in this area, and it was early 2000s, and one of our team members had nothing to give except with the contact details, except her father's business card, because she was a young 20-year-old, didn't have a business or business card or anything. It was about 4 years later that we were sent a team up, and I was back in the area. And one of the new teams that were camping out came back and said, this gentleman on a dugout canoe had searched us out, Overland Missions' boats, out for 3 days, and found the boats and came up to the boats and unraveled this business card that had been preserved in this environment where you can't preserve anything. It's raining, you can't keep books here because they get wet. You've got to move them to the highland. Somehow I preserved this business card, who came to our team and said, does anybody know this person? Because he's a friend of mine. And what impressed me was how they value our visit and our relationship so much that just a business card was enough for him to say, I have got a friend in a foreign nation, and there's the evidence of it. And carried it to us. Does anybody know this person? Even though he didn't know that person directly, you know. So even our visit coming here, you may think it's just something, it's huge for them.
Before returning to base camp, Pastor Jenny and some of the team get to experience a ride on a traditional African dugout canoe.
We are in a dugout in the Zambezi. I am amazed that we are doing this. It's very exciting. And I will live to tell my grandchildren about this experience.
And there's not a lot to worry about, just crocs in the river and hippos. But other than that, we're safe.
The team's concern proves to be unnecessary, as the skilled Lozi boatmen return them safely to shore without toppling them into the Zambezi. With a successful day's outreach behind them, the team returns to camp. Stay tuned for scenes from the next episode. Next time on Co-Mission Africa, the team continues on their Zambian outreach as they visit another branch of the Lozi tribe, known as the Tree People, to bring them the good news of the gospel. All of this and more next time on Co-Mission.